Hey everyone, this is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'm back with another movie review. Now, I picked this up just for $1 the other day at a pawn shop and didn't think much of it at the time, but after watching this, it's like, yeah, I think this will probably work pretty good for reviewing for my channel. The movie we're going to talk about is the 2009 movie After.Life. And the movie stars Christina Ricci. Well, you can see who's on there. Christina Ricci, Liam Neeson, and Justin Long. And I got to be honest, man. Well, first of all, I'm going to let it be known. Okay, yeah, I'm going to review the movie. There's going to be some spoilers, so just kind of letting you know what you're in for. So, spoilers. Still with me? Okay, good. Now, so the movie is kind of like it's a dramatic piece. It's a character piece and everything, but it's kind of a sorry. It's definitely kind of one of those movies is kind of like an examination of death and things like morality and things like that. But you say, well, is that the reason why you want to, why you think you should review it for your channel? Actually, no. I think the real reason I should review this for my channel is, I mean, I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. I'm definitely not complaining. But this movie has the most Christina Ricci TNA I've ever seen in a movie. And like I said, I'm not complaining about that. It's just it was a surprise going into this movie. It's not what I thought it was going to be, and but I mean, it's a pleasant surprise. But you can kind of tell here she has kind of like her almost like her Wednesday Adams look there. So, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll start talking about the movie review. I would say the name of the director, but unfortunately, if I try to pronounce her name, I'm going to butcher it. So I mean no disrespect, but I just know if I try to say the name of the director, I'm going to ruin her name. So I'm not going to. But anyway, though, yeah, it's an interesting little film, and even though the movie got a lot of negative reviews, I think ultimately I thought it's okay. I mean, it's not great. It's got a couple little twists and turns in it, but kind of like stuff you kind of already see coming, or at least for me, I did. But still, it's not a bad movie. Not something I will watch all the time, but every once in a while, I can maybe see like if it was on TV or something, I can maybe see stopping watching it, especially when you see all this Christina Ricci goodness in it, and if you like Christina Ricci and you think she's sexy and attractive, then yeah, you're definitely gonna like it. So let's go ahead and we'll get started. So our girl here, Christina, she stars in the movie as Anna, and Anna is a teacher. She's living with her boyfriend Paul, who's played by Justin Long, and Anna, she has this very kind of like very withdrawn, very quiet demeanor about her. When we first see the two of them, they're in bed, they're having sex, and he's going on top of her, but you could see she just kind of seems like she's bored with it. She's not really into it, and so he rolls off of her, and he's smoking a cigarette, and he's like, I don't understand. You used to be into this, and this upsets Anna, and so she gets up and she puts on the little red dress, which you're going to see her wear for a little portion of the movie. And he asks her like, where'd you get that dress at? And she just runs off, and so she's in the bathroom. She's taking a shower and getting cleaned up, and Paul comes in, to take a whiz, and he's asking her, so like basically he's wanting to know like what he can do. He's telling her that he loves her. He wants to know if she loves him, and he's asking her if she's happy, and she's just kind of, yeah, I'm happy. She's not really. She just seems kind of like she's not really giving him any information or anything like that. And so he's frustrated with her. He loves her. He loves her. He wants to be with her, but he's frustrated. He feels like she's not happy with him, and he doesn't know how to solve the problem. So they both go there, to their respective jobs and everything. It turns out that Anna is actually teaching, middle school, and there's a young boy in her class named Jack, who the other kids tease him. They call him Jack Off, and he's looking at these little baby chicks that are, in the class, and so the kids are coming in, they're ready to taunt him and stuff, but Anna, she comes in and she tells them, you kids need to get out of here, go to your class. And so they leave. And so she's, asking Jack, is everything okay? Is, something, something you want to tell me about? And he's all like, no, everything's okay. So, but he's like, yeah, I think that I think one of the chicks are dead. And she's like, no, it's not dead and stuff. So anyway, she's getting ready to leave, and he Jack comes up, and she's saying she's going to a funerals. The man used to be her piano teacher, and we're introduced to Eliot Deacon, who's played by Liam Neeson in the movie, and he's preparing a body for a funeral and everything else, and he's doing the service and everything, and then he's got his eye on Anna. He notices her when she comes in for the funeral and things, and also too we find out that Anna tends to take a lot of prescription medication, and she's kind of pill popping a bit. Well, anyway, so while this is all going on, and Paul, he's at his job. Turns out he's pretty much like a big shot lawyer, and and he's offered a big position. But the thing is he's supposed to move. I think it was Chicago he was supposed to go to, but he doesn't want to go without Anna. He loves Anna. He wants her to be with him, and so he proposes that they meet for dinner, where he's got an engagement ring. He's going to ask her to marry him. So anyway, so they're going for their big night at dinner, and so Paul is waiting there for her, and she arrives, and he's got this expensive wine and everything else, and so she's talking about like, okay, yeah, you have this fancy wine and expensive dinner. I know there's something going on here. Tell me what this is all about. And so Paul, he's telling her about he's going to um, he's been offered this job, and big opportunity for him, and he's got the engagement ring ready to give her. But the problem is that Anna, you could say that maybe it's because she's in this, she's on these prescription pills or whatever, it's affecting her moods or something like that. But anyway, she immediately jumps to the conclusion that he doesn't want to be with her anymore, that he wants to break up with her, and that the whole thing is, the whole dinner is set up so that he could give her the brush off so he could be free, which it turns out is completely not what he wants to do. And he's trying to tell her, Anna, it's like, I'm trying to talk to you, but you're jumping to conclusions. I'm getting tired of your bullshit and everything else. And so she runs out, and he's all like, I'm not going to run after you and everything else. And then, but he does run after her, and she's in the car, she's crying. And so he comes to the car, and he's like beating on the window, telling her, it's silly that they need to talk. And so she's like, no, fuck you, get away from me, blah, 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 and all this. And so, he's trying to explain to her, no, you don't get it. I want you to come with me. It's like, I'm not going to leave you. It's like, I want you to come with me. The thing, I'm trying to ask you to come with me. But she's not hearing it. She blasts the radio, and she gets out of the parking lot as fast as she can. And so Paul, he's standing there, and he's like, he feels he's really screwed up the whole situation. So Anna, she's driving home, and it starts to rain, and it starts raining really bad. And it turns out that there's like a truck riding on her ass and everything else. And so next thing we realize she gets into an accident. Well, next thing we find out is that Anna wakes up, and she's in a funeral home, and Eliot, Liam Neeson's character, he's there, and he's getting ready to prepare her, and she's like, what's going on here? Why can't I move my arms? What's happening here? And so he tries to explain to her that you're dead. You can't move. This and that. And so he starts to, he's telling her he's got to get her prepared for her funeral. Her funeral's on Friday. That she's dead, and she's like, no, that can't be. I'm not dead. And then Elliot proceeds to explain to her that he has this ability to, communicate with the dead, and he's been using this gift of his. He calls it a gift, but he's been using it to basically get people to pass on and to accept the fact that they've died, and not to hang around and just to accept the fact that they're dead. And of course, Anna, she's not really accepting it. and she's not understanding the whole thing of what's going on here, and it's kind of confusing for the audience too as well. But so anyway, but Elliot, he then he's telling her he's going to get her ready, so he undresses her, and she's got the little red dress on that she had, and he cuts it off of her, cuts off her underwear and everything, and then pretty much for like the majority of the rest of the movie, Christina Ricci is completely naked. And like I said, it's like you don't see her groin area, but you do see, her boobs and her butt, you know, and she's got a fantastic little butt on her. She's got great breasts, so. But at the same time, though, too, it does feel a little bit morbid in this movie because, like I said, it's like, her character is supposed to be dead. She has this kind of almost pale, kind of pallor to her. So she almost, like I said, she has a little bit of like her, a little bit like her Wednesday Addams almost kind of look to her, like if Wednesday Addams grew up. But so anyway, so he's trying to get her prepared, and she doesn't want to accept it. And so there's this kind of battle of wills. There's all this back and forth that he's getting upset, and he's telling her, how come you people need proof of this and that and the other thing? Why is it like when I'm trying to get you guys to realize that you're dead and you need to move on and everything else? Why is it you fight me on this and everything else? And so little bit by little bit, Anna does kind of come to the conclusion. She accepts the fact that she's pretty much dead, and so she decides she's going to go with it. At one point she trashes his office, and he comes in. He's all like, after everything I do for you, this is what you people do. So, and so meanwhile, while she's getting ready to pretty much resign to her fate, that she believes that she is dead and everything. Meanwhile, you have Paul, and he goes to Anna's mother's house, and we find out that Anna's mother is just this beast of a woman. She's talking about how she wanted to keep him away from her, and she wanted Anna to take care of her, and now that she's dead, who's going to take care of her now, and all this other kind of stuff, and so through stuff like this, and but the thing is, though, is like, Paul, he very much, he goes to the funeral home. He wants to see her. And, Eliot is telling him, I'm sorry, I can't let you see her, mainly because of the fact you're not, a relative of hers, not related by blood or anything. I know, you're not really, you're not even her fiance and stuff like that. So it's like, I can't let you see her. And so, at first he's just like, well, I'll see her at the funeral, I mean, he tries really hard. I mean, I'm not saying Paul doesn't try to see her, but eventually he does kind of give in and decide, well, that's it. It's not going to happen. So he goes to Anna's school, and the little boy Jack, he goes. Jack has this habit. He keeps going towards the funeral home, and he's in this, looking through the cemetery and stuff like that. And he starts talking with Eliot, and Eliot is, kind of telling him, yeah, I think you and I have the same gift and all this other kind of stuff. And Jack is even riding his bike past, the funeral home at night, and he sees Anna here standing in the window, and this is another attempt at Anna trying to communicate with Paul, and but the phone line is messed up, so all it comes off as is static. And Ellie is saying, you're only causing him more grief by doing this. You just need to accept the fact that you passed away, and you need to move on and everything else. And she finally does accept it, and Jack sees her in the window. And then the next day, when Paul goes to her school to gather her things and her personal belongings, Jack comes up, and he's trying to tell Paul that, no, I saw her. She's there and this and that. And he's like, well, she's there, but they're getting ready to have the funeral. No, I saw her. She's standing in the window and all this stuff and everything else. You need to do something about it. And he's like, kid, your teacher is dead. It's time for all of us to move on and everything. And which Jack tells him, yeah, well, maybe you don't love her after all, which Paul turns around and knocks his kid on his ass. Just turns around, hurls around, and just knocks the piss out of him. So he falls down, and they back Paul off, and he realizes what he's done, and he's horrified by what he did. And so he goes back to the funeral home, insisting that he sees Anna, and Anna is like, she wants to see him too. and everything. And then Elliot is able to finally persuade him that no, you can't. And at one point, a cop had gone to the funeral home. Pervy cop though too, because he sees Anna laying there on the slab, and she's asleep. And in which case, he's going in there to see his brother because his brother died, and he asks Elliot if he can be left alone with his brother for just a minute to say goodbye. Elliot's like, yeah, okay, sure, go ahead. And then the cop goes and starts getting looks like he's about ready to cop a feel on Anna, but Elliot comes in and is able to scare the cop away. But anyway, so yeah, so Paul, he after he goes to the funeral home, insisting that he sees Anna, but Elliot's just telling him to let go. He goes to the police station and he's trying to get the cops to convince him. But the problem is Paul has done so much bad stuff so far, like breaking, busting his way into the funeral home, hitting a kid, all this other kind of stuff. So he's not helping his situation. They're all like, we know you're grieving and we know you're hurting and stuff like that, but the stuff you're doing is really just making shit worse, pal. You need to just go home and accept it and start grieving and everything else. And so, we're getting towards the end of the movie, and you know, yeah, we kind of realize like some things start to really not add up. For one thing, we see Jack. He takes one of the little baby chicks that was from the classroom. He puts it in like a shoebox and basically buries it alive. And so anyway, Elliot, he's getting ready to he's getting Anna prepare for her funeral and everything else. And so Anna asks him if she can just see what she looks like one last time. And so he agrees, and so he gets the mirror, and he shows her what she looks like. And at this point she sees like like her breath go against the mirror, and then all of a sudden it occurs to her she's not dead after all. So anyway, so she's freaking out, and she's ready to she wants to get away and all this, but Elliot, he's been injecting her with this drug that he keeps saying it's going to relax her muscles, and he keeps rigor mortis from setting in. But then we realize that he's just been drugging her so that he could keep her pretty much complacent, and she won't get away. She won't get up and run around and do stuff. So they have her at the funeral, and Elliot now he's on pins and needles because we realize now that the thing is Anna was never dead, but Elliot, he was able to convince her that she was, and it's and then Paul goes up to give her a kiss, and he's putting the engagement ring he was going to give her on her finger and everything else. And so sorry, but so anyway, Elliot kind of realizes that maybe Paul might be on to him, and that something's going to go down. So yeah, he kind of needs to kind of start working on Paul now. But yeah, he realizes that Paul, he's still kind of thinking, whatever. But he accepts the fact that pretty much she's dead. But we find out she's not really dead. She's just out from the drugs that Elliot gave her. And so, he pretty much closes the coffin and, takes her and puts her in the ground. And basically, Jack is the one who starts putting the dirt on top of her. And Anna, she wakes up and she's clawing. She's trying to get out. We realize she's been buried alive. Well, they're at this, service where they're mourning her, and Paul, he's, drinking a lot, and Elliot comes up and kind of starts antagonizing him a little bit and telling him, and, Paul's like, I know she's still alive. I know you did something to her, and all this stuff. And Elliot's like, well, maybe, you might want to hurry up and get to her because, time is running out. And so Paul, realizing, what Elliot's saying, he rushes out, gets in his car, and he's trying to haul ass to the cemetery. And it gets a little shaky here because you're not really too sure about what's going on. And so Paul, he's swerving in and out of traffic and everything else. And then in one instant it looks like he gets into a car wreck, and then another instant it looks like he gets to the cemetery, and he's digging her up basically with his bare hands, and he pulls her out, and she's okay and she's safe and everything. And then come to find out, and she's saying, yeah, but turns out, you're being prepared for your burial and stuff like that. Then Paul, pretty much, he wakes up and he's on the slab in the funeral home, and Elliot, he's getting ready to, basically start working on him the way he did Anna. And, he inserts the he inserts the rod into him that basically you start embalming him. And yeah, we find out that Elliot, he has like this wall with all these pictures of all these people. You think that they're just it's just kind of like pictures of the people that he took care of them and preside over their funeral and stuff like that. And they kind of almost set it up to where you think that it's all these like dead people that are friends of his and that they've he was able to help them move on. But now you realize at the end of the movie that no, actually, pretty much what it amounts to is that basically Elliot is just pretty much a psycho serial killer, and this is just him just doing away with his victims, and so Anna, she was another one, and now we realize that Paul is going to be next, and pretty much that's about where the movie ends. And so anyway, so personally, yeah, I like I said, I enjoy it. I mean, a couple of twists and turns, you kind of saw them coming, but overall, I think it was a decent movie. Christina Ricci, she gives a great performance. She does really well. Solid acting, I will say that. The three leads, Liam Neeson, I'm not really sure what attracted him to the project. I mean, especially since his character is kind of, really ghoulish, and you find out that you find out he's a murderer, and you find out his character is basically like a ghoul, and we find out that he sits in his van, and he's like listening to the police radio and stuff like that, and he chases ambulances looking for his next victims and things like that. But he gives a good solid performance, and but I think that's kind of the thing though. If you're the kind of person you don't like see Liam Neeson playing bad guys, you're not going to like this, because I mean, let's face it, most of the time we always see Liam Neeson, he's always playing the hero in a lot of movies. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of off-putting to see him play the bad guy, but still, I think he did a good job in this. Christina Ricci, yeah, I think she did really, really well. And I'm not just saying that because, like, 80% of the movie she's butt naked, but I mean, don't get me wrong, it is incredibly nice to look at, but still, beyond that, she does give a good performance. She has some good revealing moments in the movie. She talks about how she talks about her life was full of regrets, and like one of the things that she truly regretted was that she genuinely did love Paul, and she did want to be with him, and that she felt really, really bad for never really letting him know how she felt because of the way her mother raised her. That she was pretty much raised not to really be expressive of her feelings, and her mother kind of instilled in her not to love or care about or trust anyone, and so she kind of had this. So she always kind of put this wall up between her and Paul, which is why she always seemed so cold and distant to him. But Elliot even asked her at one point, "Well, do you love Paul?" And she's like, "I don't think I've ever loved anybody as much as I've loved Paul." So so we do realize that Anna is a good person, but through circumstances, we realize, okay, this is why. So we get a little motivation as to her behavior and things. And Justin Long, he gets a lot of shit, but honestly, I like Justin Long. I've seen him in a lot of. I've seen him like Drag Me to Hell, Tusk, uh, Live Free or Die Hard. All these movies, Jeepers Creepers, and everything else. And he's always had this likability factor to me. Even Yoga Hosers, he's funny. Like Zach and Miri Make a Porno. He was, him and Seth Rogen, they have a very funny scene in that movie. But I've always liked Justin Long. I've always thought he was a good actor. He has this, I don't know if it's charm. I don't know, go so far as to say that, but he does have a likability to him, and I've always enjoyed him. I've always liked just about every film I've ever seen him in, and this movie he gives a really good performance. He really delivers. It's like you genuinely feel like he honestly loved Anna, and you feel that he is really suffering and he's in a lot of pain over her being gone and things like that. And I really do. I think he did a good job. I honestly do. So yeah, I think a good solid movie. I mean, like I said, I know the movie gets a lot of negative reviews and stuff, and to each their own. But honestly, like I said, I don't think it's. I mean, it's not a masterpiece. I won't go so far as to say that, but overall, it is an entertaining movie. It's an interesting movie, and three good actors. Well, two good actors and a good actress, and all of them deliver. They're all playing their parts to the best of their abilities. no weak links here, no, no bad characterization. So I mean, kind of like, yeah, I mean, up until you find out that Eliot is actually the villain. I mean, yeah, he does look kind of villainous there, but when you start watching the movie, at first he does kind of seem like he's not a bad guy. He's actually a good guy, a little bit mysterious, but you start to think that you know him, and you start to think what what he is all about, only to find out no, he's pretty much a murderer and stuff like that. But overall, yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend it. I mean, if nothing else, I mean, if you just if you're like if you're the kind of guy who's like, I watch Black Snake Moan and I need a movie with much more Christina Ricci nudity, Afterlife's got you covered. You want to see Christina Ricci nudity, this movie will do it for you. So yeah, go ahead and check it out. If nothing else, if you just want to see, you know, you just want to see more of her naked, this is the movie to do it with. So I just thought that was kind of like, yeah, as soon as I saw all the nudity in this movie, I was all like, yeah, this would probably be something, I should review for my channel. But anyway, that's it. Like I say, yeah, not something I will watch all the time, but something I could definitely see myself sitting and watching it again. So anyway, so yeah, that's it. I think that's pretty much going to do it. So if anybody took the time to watch all this, I thank you for doing it. And I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. There's going to be more videos, movie reviews. I want to do a series of videos on, like my favorite urban legends. I already started on that. More stuff coming, haul videos, whatnot. So, yeah, especially as we're getting closer to October, I'm already starting to get the Halloween juices flowing. So it's like that's my time. So I'm kind of like, oh man, I got all kinds of things I want to talk about, all kinds of things I want to do. So yeah, so getting closer to that, yeah. So, but anyway, though, so yeah, this is it, and this is Sinema77, horror cult film lover. Again, I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, come back. Until then, have a good night. Take care. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.